This is one of the probably most misused statements in the history. Why am I putting this here? Well, the bottom line is the following. We are the company that dispatches some goods, some boxes, some pallets or something. Once the customer gives us an order, he has no idea what's going on with that order until it comes to his door. We have SLAs, 24 hours, 48 hours, depending on the area, but the customer has no idea when exactly the goods are coming, nor what's happening. So what we want to do here, the first thing, you gave us an order. Okay, we will give you a complete overview of the status, what's going on with your order. This is maybe something similar. Something similar exists in the B2C world. When you order something, I don't know, from Amazon or Alibaba or anywhere else, you can track your order status. My order is in the warehouse. My order is being dispatched. Okay, so that's the first part. To be frank, we could also use that transparency, because when we want to know what's going on with some order, you remember we have a lot of systems over there, you know. So somebody has to go in, this order is, so it takes 10 minutes for few people to check what's going on with a particular order. It's difficult for us to get the information. We have it, but it's not in one place, and we need to put a lot of effort to get this information. The second part, once the truck leaves our warehouse, it's a black hole. We have no idea where it is, what was already delivered, are there some delays on the road or anything like that. So we would like to know what's going on. So the basic idea of this challenge is to give that guy a tablet or some mobile device with GPS and load it with all of the deliveries he's supposed to make that day and to keep track what's going on. So visibility to us, but also visibility to the end customer, because the customer would probably like to ask, when is the truck coming? This is something that Jakub mentioned. You said, what, 100, 150 calls a day? Yeah. So we can avoid all that if we can provide transparency. Just show him, show the guy. You can go to some web page or use a mobile app, input your order reference, and the system will show you on the map where the truck with your goods are and what's the ETA, estimated time of arrival. This is again something similar that you have when you order Uber or some of the taxi services in Zagreb. But it's not common in B2B business, it's not common in distribution. The main benefits we see here is that we differentiate how we do our customer service. We provide you better information, we give you good oversight, and at the same time, we spare some resources at our side, so it's a win-win. On the other hand, if this guy has a tablet, I've already mentioned that this guy goes out and then it's a black hole. We have no idea what's going on. So when he comes back at the end of the day, he brings back this bunch of papers, and then somebody goes through all those papers one by one. Is everyone signed? And you need to keep those signed papers. That sounds very 1950s, but that's still how it works. Because a signed piece of paper, a signed dispatch note, is a proof, legal proof, that the customer actually took those goods. So later, if they don't want to pay for that, you need to have this piece of paper, hey, but you signed that you received the goods. So we keep a physical archive of all those papers, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of papers each year. Again, if this guy has a tablet when he's on the field, you ordered 100. Then I come there, I give you 100, but you say, no, I only ordered 80. There was some mess up. They have to cross on the paper 100, by hand write 80. And when he goes back, somebody has to retype those 100 into an 80, check if the goods are okay and everything. This is a lot of manual work, a lot of paper administration. If he has a tablet, he can do it right there in the field. I have a problem with the delivery. I just type in 80. The information whoosh, goes back to our ERP system, and the document can be processed immediately when he returns, when we see that he actually brought those 20 back. So nobody has to do any paper processing. So customer gets visibility, we get visibility. And the most important stuff is here for us. That's once the truck returns, we can just quickly check if he has everything he needs, and we don't need to do any more processing of the papers, and we don't need to do physical documentation archiving. The idea is that we have a digital signature on the tablet in the field that will allow us to keep this digital copy of the document as the proof that the goods were delivered, which we can keep for legal purposes, but somewhere in some data center, on some storage, not in rooms filled with papers. I'm sorry we didn't prepare some pictures, but I guess those would be very interesting to see. So, why the Henry Ford? Well, in this case, you are Henry Ford and we are the people. We can only give you the basics. We explain to you what are the troubles that are bothering us. but we don't have a complete idea of how we want to do it. If we did, we would go to one of our existing partners. We would say, hey, this is the specification, do an application like this. This is just the basic. Any creativity, any fresh ideas, any possible uses of new technologies you feel that could bring us some additional benefit, hey, feel free to offer them. This will certainly be a major benefit. One of the things that I'm interested personally the most, what can we do with all this data? Because now we know nothing about what's going on in the field. How long it takes to get to the first delivery place. How much time you actually spend there. How much time you spend on the next one. Because unloading is not the same. For one customer you have one box, done in 5 minutes. For other customers you may have 3 pallets, but not just 3 pallets. You have to pick 3 boxes of this one, 5 boxes of that. So you spend a lot more time. How much time you spend to get, how much time you spend on each individual delivery place, what are usual delays, on which delivery places you have most problems. This is all a bunch of great data we don't currently have. We don't know what's going on in the field, especially concerning the fact that most of the trucks are external vehicles. We can do something with our own trucks, we can put in some tracking devices and we already have them, but at a very basic level, what about external partners? If you have a mobile device, a tablet or something, we can give it to them, take this with you and do the processing as you go. This also incurs a very important additional request that any solution must be extremely simple to use. Because the guys using it will not be trained. This is just some external driver. You have a truck company, I come to you, can you drive my goods? Yeah. Your driver must be able to do the processing without any training. This is very common because today when you download an app from App Store or Google Play, nobody trains you how to use it. You just pick up the app and you know how to do it. This is something that is not typical for solutions in this industry. You typically buy this solution, then you have manuals, training, and people actually spend a few days learning how to use this. We cannot have this here. So, this is it from our side, and now all 3 of us are open for any further questions from you. Please. Yes, please.
My question is, what is the preferred way of communication with customers? With announcement of delivery? Is it SMS? Is it phone call? Is it email? I mean, do you have small stores, big stores? I assume that not everyone has all the means. So what do you usually do? At the moment with phone, I suppose.
At the moment, all we have is phone. Daria, correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, of course, a selection of channels would be suitable, but we haven't given it much thought. This is one of the examples where we expect to be proposed in the solution, but which we didn't specify in all the details. I could say the basic things, you know, phone, SMS, email or something, but it's up to you pretty much.
And digital signature, is there any need for some papers to be left at the customer site immediately, or you?
If you see here, we have this -1 dispatch note per delivery, because our plan was that the customer will still require a paper copy. We cannot change our customers and we'll give them a paper copy, but we plan to lose our paper copy. So we plan to replace our paper copy with a digital signature on the tablet.
Thanks.
More questions?
Zanima me, kurirske firme trenutačno koriste baš nešto što vi opisujete, pa sigurno ste pogledali o čem se tu radi, pa što je problem s tim, zašto se to ne može koristiti?
Most of those applications you mentioned, we did a quick market sweep. Most of those applications are not oriented towards different points of integration with the distribution industry like we are. Yes, as I mentioned a few examples that you have order tracking status and that you can see what's going on in the field, but it's never been done in this industry. And what we'd like to get the most of this solution is basically the data part. So we did a quick check. None of the solutions are suited for this industry. When you start talking to them, you get into all sorts of problems which clearly say they're oriented toward courier services, but the business model is not the same, so you get into a lot of problems here. It's not a very clear answer, but it would require a lot more details then.
Is there any legal requirement in terms of paper documents that you have to keep, or you can replace almost everything with digital documents? I mean, you mentioned this one document that you have to leave to a customer, but is there anything else that you have to keep for audit purposes or something?
Basically, we have to keep the proof that the goods were delivered. There are some regulations in Croatia on what constitutes a valid digital signature. So you can scribble something with your finger on your phone, but that's not digital signature. It requires some special conditions, tracking the angle under which it's written. So basically, the answer is yes, there are some regulations on what is a valid digital signature. And that information is already available and used in Croatia because, for example, in the bank today, you don't sign papers anymore. You sign something on a signature pad typically.
But just one more question. Is there any constraints regarding paper document that you still have to keep internally? I mean, are you able to replace almost everything with a digital document in
yes.
legal term? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, if it's digitally signed, then yes.
Do you have something like a stock van sale so that you have some additional stock in a van and the driver can sell it immediately on the spot, not only fixed stock?
No,
Okay.
the answer is
So
no.
the stock in there is what they will sell, nothing additionally unexpected.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
that's correct.
So, could you perhaps list the integration points with which you want the solution to integrate with, so regarding these, let's say, documents and digital copies and, I don't know, sensory data of the GPS and so on. So do you have some existing facilities for this, or is it also part of the solution?
Well, we did send some integration details. None of us here are the right people to answer questions about specifics on the interface. It was developed by our internal SAP consultants, so I can't answer regarding that. But yes, we do have existing systems. We of course have the ERP, which will be the main integration point process-wise, and we have our own enterprise data warehouse where we'll collect the data which comes out of the system eventually. Any questions like this regarding technical details of the interface, I think it's better to communicate them later through email or some other forms of communication where appropriate technical people from our side can answer them in more details. But yes, we have existing systems at most points, and yes, we will have some requirements regarding that. For a pilot solution, for a proof of concept, which is basically what we are doing here, this is not the most important thing in the world. Okay, we are looking for a concept. We did give some information about the interface just to understand what kind of information is exchanged, but we will not be integrating this proof of concept into our existing system. This is something that may come later when we actually try to deploy this to production. So this will not be a major point in evaluation of the solution.
Do we have more questions? Again, we will have question and answer session after all the presentations. So if you came up with more questions, just remember them. Okay, thank you, Tomislav, Jakov, Daria. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your attention.